All right, this is Math 808, Measures of Solid Figures Study Guide. I hope everybody was able to get the formula sheet. This is going to save your hide for the test, all right? You need to have these memorized to take the test. All right, starting with problem number 1. Which of the following is the net of a cone? This one's pretty simple. We'll choose the circle with the wedge. That's the net of a cone. Problem number 2. Geometric solids are three-dimensional representations of a figure. True, they are. Problem number 3. If a figure has 6 vertices and 9 edges, how many faces does it have? This formula was on the formula sheet. Euler's formula should be memorized. Vertices plus faces equals edges plus 2. So they tell us the vertices are 6. We don't know the faces. Equals edges 9 plus 2. 9 plus 2 is 11. So the faces would have to be, we're going to do some, subtract 6 from both sides. This cancels that out. So faces equals 5. Should be 5 faces. Okay, some of these problems I am not going to give you the answer at the end. You'll have to finish it yourself. What is the volume of the square pyramid shown below? And that was on here. Right? Looked a little different though. Volume of a square pyramid, I have for you guys 1/3 times side squared times height, because this is how you find the area of the base. The base is a square. To find the area of a square, you just go side squared, right? So I'll write it out like it is on the formula sheet right here. Okay, 1/3 times the side is 5, and then the height is 8. So it's 1/3 times 25 times 8. Well, 25 times 8 is 200, right? And 1/3 of 200 is 66.67, rounded. Okay? That's how you find the volume of a square pyramid. Okay, how many times larger is the new volume of a cylinder if only the height doubled and the radius remained the same? All right, so if you look at the formula for the volume of a cylinder, you'll see it's right here. Pi r squared height. So let's write that out. Pi times radius times height. Because that's what r squared means. You multiply r radius by itself. Only the height doubled. Nothing else doubled. So they stay the same. You just put a 1. 1 times 1 times 2 is 2. That means that the new volume just doubled, 2 times larger. This gets tricky when they say, what if they said the radius doubled? Then you would have had to go like this. The radius doubled, so 2 times 2, but the height remained the same. Okay, so we'll just put a 1 right there. So it's 2 times 2 is 4 times 1. So the volume will be 4 times larger. Okay, what if all the dimensions doubled? Then it would be 2 times 2 times 2, which would be 8 times larger. The new volume would be 8 times larger. So it depends on how many dimensions, double, triple, quadruple, how much larger the new volume will be. Okay? Number 6, a cube has a side length of 9 inches. What is the volume of the cube? Okay, we know that cubes, all the dimensions are the same on a cube, so it's just 9 times 9 times 9. And I'll let you finish that one, okay, on your own. Problem number 7. The cone pictured has a surface area of how many square meters? Use 3.14 for pi. All right, here's our cone. Surface area formula for cone. I have it written down right there on top. Pi times radius times slant height plus pi times radius squared. Okay, slant height is not pictured like this. This image is incorrect. Slant height only goes from here to here. But it is correct. The slant height of this problem is 9. I guess the graphic just got messed up. This should be deleted. This is actually the height. Slant height would only go from here to here. Okay, so we're going to do this real quick. Pi, you know we use 3.14 times radius is 6 times slant height, which is 9, plus pi times radius squared. So we're going to go times 6 squared. Okay, so we got 3.14 times 54 plus 3.14 times 36. And then once you find this and this separately, then you can add them together and you'll have the answer for problem number 7. Okay? I'm not going to work that one out for you either. Number 8. What is the volume of this figure? Well, do you know what this figure is? If you look at your formula sheet, you'll see that this is a triangular prism. And the volume is that I have on the formula sheet is 1/2 times base times height, because that's how you find the area of a triangle. Now when you get later on, you'll see the formula just has capital B for base times height. But since the base is a triangle, and a lot of times you get confused how to find the area of the base, I put in the area of the triangle for this triangular prism. So I'll go ahead and write that out. Okay, so let's do this. First we're going to do the base, which is this triangle right here. This is the base of this. There's another one over here. They didn't draw it in there, but there's 2 bases to this prism. All right, 1/2 times 8, that's the base of this triangle, times height, that's the height of this triangle, times the height of the prism. The height of the prism is this line right here, which is 18. Wow, I'm being really sloppy here. Let's erase this. The height of the triangle was a 9. Okay. All right. So 1/2 of 8 is 4, and 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, and then we have to multiply that by 18. And we get 648. So this is the volume of this triangular prism. Okay? Problem number 9, what is the volume of the cone? And I have a formula written there, but it's also on here. Formula of a cone. Volume. 1/3 pi r squared height. 1/3 pi r squared height. Yes, that matches. Okay, so we go 1/3 times 3.14 times. Now, what is this? Is it an 8 or a 9? It's an 8. Sorry, that was very confusing. Square the 8 and multiply by the height, which is 14. Okay, I'll erase that, put 14. Okay, 1/3 times 3.14 times 64 times 14. Okay, we multiply all of this together and we'll get times 2,813.44. And then we still have to multiply it by 1/3, which to multiply by a fraction, you just multiply by the numerator and then divide by the denominator. Since the numerator is 1, you just have to, we know it's going to still be 2,813.44. So then we can just skip right on to dividing that by 3. And we get 937.81. See that? And there it is right there. Okay, problem number 10 is a composite figure. What is the volume? Do you know what the two figures are? The two figures are rectangular prism and triangular prism. Okay? So to find the volume of the rectangular prism, it's easy. It's right here. Length times width times height. So we're going to have length equal to 10 times 15 times 5 for the rectangular prism. Then we're going to have to add this triangular prism. Again, with the capital B, meaning base times height. On your formula sheet, I put half base times height because I wanted you to know that's how you find the area of the base of a triangular prism. 1/2 times base times height. So I'll work that out. Okay, half of the base. The base of this triangle is 10, so we're going to go 1/2 times 10 times the height of this triangle is 7. Then we have to multiply by the height of the whole prism, the triangular prism. The height of the whole prism is 15. Okay? Plus, remember what this was over here? This was the rectangular prism. And it's 150 times 5, which is 750. Okay, now we have to figure out what this is. Half of 10 is 5. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 times 15 is 525 plus 750. Okay, I'll let you finish that one also. Okay, problem number 11. What is the surface area of a sphere with a diameter of 16 centimeters? Surface area. I wrote down the formula. 4 times pi times radius squared. It's right here. Okay, so we're going to go 4 times pi times the radius squared. The diameter is 16, so the radius is 8, right? What's 4 times pi? 4 times pi is 12.56. So we'll just erase this. Times 64. Okay. Times 64 is 803.84. And the option on the study guide is 804.84. So we'll have to fix that, but the answer is 803 because I have a score key right here. So we'll just cross that out. 803.84. And that's okay by me. All right, what is the slant height of a square pyramid that has a surface area of 175 square meters and a side length of 7 meters? Slant height of a square pyramid that has a surface area. Okay, here's square pyramid. Here's surface area. All right. So we know everything but slant height. So we're going to fill in on numbers that we know. We know the surface area is 175. 2 times length times slant height plus length squared. Okay? So we're going to have 175 equals 14 slant height plus 49. Okay, now we're going to have to do our algebra where we subtract 49 from both sides, canceling this out and making this 175, 126. Okay, so we just have 126 equals 14 slant height. And the last step, do you know what it is? We're going to divide both sides by 14. Okay, I'll let you finish this. This will cancel out. And whatever this is, the answer to this, that'll be your answer to problem number 12. Okay, number 13. What is the volume of the cylinder shown? And I wrote out the formula for it. It looks pretty simple. Pi times radius squared times height. Yep. Remember, squared doesn't mean 13 times 2. It means 13 times 13. Okay? Which is 169. So if you multiply pi times 169 times 17, you'll get the answer to this cylinder problem. Okay? All right, moving on to number 14. The composite figure shown is made up of a cylinder. This is the cylinder. And a what? A dunce cap? A cone. All right. Problem number 15. What is the volume of a sphere if it has a radius of 3 feet? Okay. So volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. So 3 cubed. That doesn't mean 3 times 3. That means 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, which is 27. All right, so we're going to multiply pi times 27. We get 84.78. Oops, sorry. Then we have to multiply it by 4/3. Okay, when we're multiplying by fractions, you multiply by the numerator and then you divide by the denominator. So take 84.78, multiply it by 4, you get 339.12. Then we're going to have to divide it by the 3. Okay, and I'll let you finish that one. Okay, what is the surface area of this figure? This is a rectangular prism. Right here. This is how you find the surface area of this figure. Twice the length times the width. The length would be 12. The width would be 2. Plus twice the length again. But now the height, which is 15, plus twice the width, which is 2, and the height, which is 15. Okay, let's spread this out a little bit here. 4 times 12 is 48. plus 30 times 12 is 360 plus 4 times 15 is 60. 48 plus 360 plus 60. That'll give you the final answer to problem 16. Okay? Moving on to 17. The length and the width of a rectangular prism triple while the height remains the same. What will happen to the volume with these changes? Okay, remember, volume equals length times width times height. The length and the width triple. So it's 3 times 3 times just 1. This doesn't change. So that means you're just going to go 3 times 1 is 9. So the volume will change, will be 9 times larger. If it was all of these, if they all tripled, 3 times 3 times 3, then the volume would have been 27 times larger. But since only 2 dimensions change, the volume is only 9 times larger. Okay, moving on to number 18. Find the surface area of this figure shown. Looks a little bit different on your formula sheet because, again, I take out the capital B and I put in the area of the base, which is a triangle. And that's how you find the area of a triangle. Half the base times height. So, I'll go ahead and write it like this. Okay, so the base of the triangle is 6. The height of the triangle is 4. The perimeter of the triangle, that's what goes there, is 5, 10, 16. Oh, erase that. The height, okay, this height is different than this height. This is the height of the whole prism. So here we're going to put 10. Okay? So half of 6 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 16 times 10 is 160. Right? 2 times 12 is 24 plus 160. 24 plus 160 is 184. Okay, moving on to number 19. What is the surface area of the composite figure? What is a composite figure? Let's turn the page and see what it is. It's interesting. It's a sphere and a cylinder, but it's not a complete sphere. It's a hemisphere. It's half of a sphere. So the formula we're going to use for this hemisphere is going to be, hold on. Yeah, there it is right there. 4 times pi times radius squared. But half of that, because it's only half of a hemisphere. So we're going to go 1/2 times 4 times pi times the radius of the sphere is 8 squared. Then we're going to have to add the cylinder formula. Let's find the hemisphere first. Alright, so it's going to be 64 times pi times 4, and then half of that. Alright, what's 64 times pi times 4? 803.84. And then, what's half of that? You just divide it by 2. 401.92. Because we multiplied it by a half. 401.92. So the hemisphere is 401.92. All right. So we have this surface area figured out. Now we have to figure out this surface area. which is a cylinder, which we're going to tweak this formula a little bit because this is the area of the part that's going around the cylinder. This is the area of the two bases, pi r squared. Remember this? This is how you find a circle. Well, there's two circles here in a cylinder. This shape, because we put a hemisphere on top of the cylinder, we really only have one surface. The top circle is being covered by the hemisphere. So we need to cross this out and put a 1. That's how we're going to tweak that formula, okay? All right, let's do it real quick. So we're going to have 2 times pi, which is 3.14, times the radius, which is still the same as this, it's 8, times the height of the cylinder, which is 5, plus, instead of a 2, we're going to put a 1, times pi times radius squared, which, oh, the radius is 8, not r anymore, okay. This becomes pi times 64, and this over here becomes 251.2. Okay, this becomes 200.96, and we have to add that to 251.2. So let's go ahead and add this. This is the end of the cylinder. I mean, not completely. Okay, let's go ahead and finish the cylinder. 251.2 plus 200.96, 452.16. Okay, so the cylinder was 452.16 and the hemisphere was 401.92. And we have to add those together to get the final answer for the surface area of this composite figure. Okay, and then the last problem is right here. What is this figure's surface area? Shouldn't be too hard because we just did it here. Remember, we tweaked it. We had to tweak it a little bit though because we were putting the hemisphere on top of that cylinder, covering up that top surface. Now we're just going to do the formula as is, and we don't have to tweak it at all. 2 times pi times radius, which is 3, times the height, which is 12, plus 2 times pi times the radius squared, which would be 9, because 3 squared is 9. Okay? And this is pretty self-explanatory in itself. This becomes 226.08, and this here becomes 56.52 after you multiply that. And then once you add that together, you'll get your final answer, number 20. All right. That's the end of this study guide